China has a secret plan to use gold to become the superpower of the world. And this is going to have massive implications for you no matter which country you live in. If you're paying attention, it could mean huge profits. And if you're not paying attention, it could be catastrophic. But in this video, I'm going to show you what's developing right now. And I'm going to show you how to move to take advantage of this. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss. I like to talk about business, investing, success, making money, making our money make money. That's why I like to talk about investing. It's the single most important thing. We need our money to be working harder than we do. Now, shout out real quick if you're paying attention. If you do any kind of video processing, video editing, and you think you could help make my YouTube videos look better than they do, because I know they're not very good, send me a message, info@marketdisruptors.io, or leave it a comment down below, and I'll get back to you if you do any kind of YouTube video editing and you think you can help me out. All right, now, getting right into this, we are talking about China's secret plan. Well, maybe it's not so secret, but if you're not paying attention, it could be secret. And basically, China wants to take over the world. Shocker, they want to regain their presence as a global superpower. Now, they were a superpower hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They lost that position, and they've been wanting to try to get that back. I mean, which country wouldn't want to be the superpower? And so, like I said, it's not much of a secret, but I'm going to talk about how they're doing it and what that means for us. Now, they want to exert their global dominance. And like I said, we're going to look at how they're doing this because that's what has the implications for us. So what we can do first of all is we'll kind of look back, and I've been studying and investing in the precious metals, the gold and silver markets for about a dozen years, about 10, 12 years. And one of the things that's pretty evident if you study the precious metals market is that over the last decade, China has been a massive accumulator of gold. They've been just stacking more and more and more gold. Of course, we know all the central banks are accumulating gold right now. Last year, they accumulated more gold than any time in history since 1971, since we went off the gold standard. But China has been doing this very aggressively for the last decade. Now, like China, they don't report everything exactly, so we don't really know how much they have. Whatever they do report, it's hard to know if it's true, if we can believe it or not. But estimates are that they've been adding about 100 tons of gold per year. In addition to that, China has a lot of gold. As a matter of fact, they're the largest producer of gold since 2007. And the thing about China is they let anybody come mine in China, but no gold's allowed to leave China. So go ahead, come over, mine it, but then sell it all to us. So not only have they been the largest producer since 2007, they surpassed India for that, they've also been the largest importer of gold as well. And some analysts think that they could have over 5,000 tons of gold. Some analysts think they could even have as much as 10,000 tons of gold. To put this into perspective, the United States is supposedly the #1 holder of gold. Supposedly, the United States has about 8,000 tons. I say supposedly because it hasn't been audited. I think, based upon the way the gold markets have been manipulated, that I think the United States has probably dumped a lot of the gold. It'd be really interesting to see what they actually have. But anyway, just to put that in perspective, the U.S. has maybe about 8,000. Some analysts think China could have about 5,000. They report they have about 2,000. So let's dig into that a little bit further. So why are they doing this in the first place? Well, it's the same reason that all central banks are accumulating gold, which is to protect themselves from a failing currency, a failing fake currency. Imagine if you could just produce a fake currency, just paper out of nowhere, and then you could take that fake fiat money and then convert it into gold, which is real wealth. That'd be pretty cool. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're printing fake money. They're buying gold with it. But China has something even bigger in mind. And so while most central banks, as we've been reporting, are buying gold to protect against their failing currency, what China has been doing is they've been trying to, protect themselves against their currency. Also, they're one of the largest holders of U.S. debt, so they want to protect themselves against the U.S. debt. But what they also want to do is they're trying to get themselves a larger share of the SDRs. Now, what are SDRs? I'm glad you asked. SDRs are what's called special drawing rights, SDRs, and it's from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, is kind of like the BIS, and it's a central bank for central banks, to put it very simply. And the IMF creates this basket of currencies. These are reserve currencies. And what they do is it's based on percentages based off of how big that currency is, how strong that country is. So it's probably no surprise that the US dollar takes up the dominant position inside that IMF reserve currency basket, or that SDR. And what China's been wanting is to get a larger percentage of their currency in that SDR basket. And the reason why they want that is because the larger percentage they have, the more of their currency will be purchased. And they've been doing this for a while. As a matter of fact, back in 2015, 2016, they were really petitioning hard. They were getting a larger and larger share, and it pushed trillions of dollars, somewhere between $2 to $3 trillion got pushed into the Chinese currency because of that. And so that's one of their big motivations. Now, it's been rumored for quite some time that China was accumulating all this gold to, at some point, announce that they're going to try to do a gold-backed currency again, which at that point they could really take a large share of that SDR basket, if not take it over. But what they're also doing is trying to work around the dollar. So not only are they trying to undermine the dollar by building one that's even stronger, right? They want to become the reserve currency. They want to take the US dollar off the reserve currency status and become that reserve currency. But they're also weakening it by working around the dollar. So most global trade, like oil, for example, is supposed to be done in US dollars. And the US uses the US dollars as weapons. And so they slap sanctions on country, sanctions and sanctions and sanctions. So sanctions on Russia, sanctions on Iran. Well, what China's been doing is they've been trading with our enemies. So while Russia, Iran are supposed to have sanctions against them, China's like, well, we'll deal with you and we'll buy oil from you, and we'll do it outside of the US dollars. I've done videos about that. I'll link to it up here. And you can learn more about that. But so they've been secretly trying to build their currency, try to really establish their position as the SDR, as a global reserve currency, and at the same time undermining the US dollar by trading with enemies outside of it. At the same time, China has really pushed the digital currency, the rise of digital currencies. And I'm not talking about cryptocurrencies, not yet, but digital currencies. And so in China, they have billions of people using basically digital money. They use platforms made by Tencent like WeChat, Alipay, and basically everything that the Chinese do are in this one app. They don't use cash, they pay out of the app. So they're already on this digital platform, right? All these billions of people are already caught up with that. And then it's no surprise that a month ago, the president of China, President Xi, if that's how you pronounce it, about a month ago, he announced that they were going all in on digital currencies, blockchain technology. Not Bitcoin, but blockchain technology. I think they got motivated by what Mark Zuckerberg was doing from Facebook with Libra. And China announced that they're all in on cryptocurrencies, they call it, blockchain technology, and they want to be the first. China wants to be the first to launch a blockchain digital currency. They said they've been working on this for over 5 years, and this is another piece that they're adding to the equation. Now, Mark Zuckerberg went before Congress and he warned the U.S. regulators. He said, look, China's doing this. If it's not the U.S., then it's going to be China. But here's where all this starts coming together. So it's what Max Kaiser called China's trap door. So what China's doing is they're not trying to create a new currency. They're not trying to create a Bitcoin. They're not trying to create a Libra. What they're trying to do is digitize their existing currency. So they want to take their currency they already have and put that onto the blockchain. And according to Max Kaiser, China is going to announce at the same time that 1, their currency is going to be backed by the blockchain, 2, that it's going to be backed by gold, and 3, the shocker, is that they don't have 2,000 tons of gold, they have 20,000 tons of gold, which would be a bomb drop to the whole world. Everyone would just freak out if they had 20,000 tons, and it would make it evident that they were serious. They were going to have a gold-backed cryptocurrency done by the PBOC, and it would be a very, very, very aggressive move to unseat the US dollar. I think it would establish its global dominance, and it would send shockwaves through the world. So what would happen? Well, Like I said, it would be shocking, obviously, but what we would see instantly from China announcing that they had even 10,000 ounces of gold, but especially 28,000 tons of gold, is that we'd see the price of gold skyrocket. I mean, the price of gold would just go up so fast, and so you want to be prepared for that. We'd also see the Chinese currency, the yuan, would also skyrocket in value. The downside, we would see the value of the US dollar would drop. It would plummet really, really fast. So those are some of the repercussions that could happen. And so we have to be prepared. Obviously, if we had a crystal ball, that would make this way easier. I always say that. We can't trade, we can't invest in hindsight. So we have to take the information that we have available to us and make the best decisions. We need to be paying attention to them so we can move and react as things come up. But we know that for the last decade, China has been accumulating gold. We know that they have been doing that in hopes to potentially relaunch their currency as a gold-backed currency. We thought they wanted to do that to get a larger share of the SDR, the IMF SDR reserve currency basket, so more money would flow into them. But now, in the last month, they've announced they're going to release their own cryptocurrency, their own blockchain currency. And if they announce that that is going to be gold backed, which we already thought they were going to do, and then they shock the world and say it's not 2,000 or 5,000 tons, it's 20,000 tons, it could be game over. This is really big. Obviously, it's speculation, but all these things we've been watching for a decade, a dozen years, are starting to all line up with this last announcement that they've made. And so big things are happening. So you need to be prepared. Stack some gold. Make sure you have gold allocation in your portfolio. Buy some Bitcoin. That's a protection against the US dollar falling. Buy some Bitcoin, stack some of that in your portfolio. Pay attention to what's happening here. And of course, I'll keep you posted. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell so you're always notified as soon as I release new videos. Now, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up on it. Let me know if this makes sense. If I'm wrong, let me know. Leave a comment. Either way, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. I just love to hear what you think about this. And that's it. To your success. I'm out.